So why have you returned without my owl, or at least the severed head of that witcher? And where are your two other accomplices?
We had, complications. My team and I surrounded them near a river in the forest realm.
What complications? I pay you handsomely, so I don't have to hear about complications.
My assassin was about to backstab the witcher, but something made the ground and trees shake. It was a giant ogre, my lord.
A giant ogre, you say?
Yes. We were not prepared for such a surprise attack. Also, it mentioned that the witcher's companion, the shaman bard you told us about, was its friend.
Quite interesting.
Before using the portal scroll that you gave us to come back to the Shadow Realm to tell you what we saw and heard, we met with two women. They were lost and miserable. After a little bit of, let's say, persuasion, they confessed that they were sent on a mission by a higher vampire to find and report back on the whereabouts of a witcher named Merrick and a shaman bard named Hannah, and they shared explicit details of a horned owl named Mina.
You met with Mary and Gretchen, I see.
Yes, we led them through the dark forest near Diamond Lake, following the witcher and his team. His team is growing. They met up with a small halfling. I witnessed the halfling do amazing things with magic. The most powerful kind of magic I've ever seen. My team is hiding in the woods as we speak, surrounding their campsite. They will not attack without my order.
Well, you have shared a lot of interesting information, Ludwig. It is best you return back to your team.
Yes, right away, my lord.
Oh,
yes, my lord.
If I am correct, that halfling is much more powerful than he seems. I will pay handsomely if you bring back that halfling alive.
Understood, my lord. Servant?
Yes, my lord? Bring me Ulrich and Alia. I have some questions for them. Yes, right away, my lord. I want to know why they told me that Diggory died in battle when I sent them to the noble's manor in the town of Acton. Hello everyone, this is Moses from Wilona's Cave, a channel where I play role-playing games solo and try my best to make them as entertaining and educational as possible, so you can play your favorite RPG system solo as well. So in the last episode, our group here, Hannah, our witcher, Merrick, Diggory the ogre, and Elros the halfling, were setting up camp. Now they're inside the tent, but they were setting up camp, and Mary here and Gretchen showed up, and they talked it out and spoke to them and said if they could rest for a while. They're in need of food and warmth, basically, and shelter, and asking where the closest they're on their way to the closest biggest town in this location. They are currently in the dark forest near the Diamond Lake in the forest realm. And it's pretty bad out here. So right now, hopefully you have been watching the series. If not, if I remember, I'll put the episode 1 in the screen right now. If not, please look through the playlist. There is a Heim, demon or specter, I'm not too sure which you classify as the Heim as, that is around the shadows in the forest. Doesn't like light or bright light as well, and doesn't like fire or being set on fire, really. So Diggory and Elros know that the Heim is still out there. So how is this going to continue right now? I'm not too sure. Mary and Gretchen are sent by a higher vampire that is out to get Merrick the Witcher and their owl. His owl, Mina, the horned owl, which is currently Hannah's companion. The higher vampire wants his owl back and has sent these two, amongst other bounty hunters, but sent these two to go get that owl or tell them the whereabouts of where this witcher is. So right now, I put this tent here inside of a tent. So maybe you guys noticing, why is there a tent there? That's all I could really find. This is basically like a covering for both of them. So right now, Hannah and Merrick were burned very badly with the last combat that they had, and they have rags on their faces that have herbs that Elros found in the surrounding forest, infused with herbs to help heal their skin. So because of that reason, that's why this tent is here in a way, Mary and Gretchen didn't recognize these two, which they know who they are, but they didn't recognize them. But I have to think realistically. I think it's late, so now we're going to go with the story. I've been getting a lot of requests online, by the way, on, I think this is not including shorts. This is my 100th episode, I believe. 138 is my total, but I think like 38 of them are shorts. So this is, I think, the 100th episode, and that's the 100th episode, I think, using Mythic as well. Mythic Game Master Emulator. By the way, the second edition came out. It looks great. It's on TTRPG right now. But I've been getting a lot of people saying or asking, can I use another Oracle so we can see how it works? So I'm going to use Ironsworn from right now. We're going to use Ironsworn. It's a lot simpler, but it won't be as chaotic. It won't be as random. It will be with a little work, but we'll use that right now. I'll use it. I'll put up on the screen right now, if I remember, that the poll in my community page on YouTube, I asked the community what they would like the scene setup to be for this episode, and it was pretty close, and I'm actually surprised at the result. But I guess it makes sense. You know, the owl wants to rest and drink and eat as well. Mina, this is the scene setup. Mina, the owl companion, flies down from the trees into the campsite. So Mina is going to arrive right now. Let me see where Mina is in the track. One moment. There's Mina. So Mina arrives. Let's put Mina right here. It's probably going to be really small. She's sitting on top of the tent. There's Mina. Now, Gretchen and Mary know this owl very well. This owl is actually the whole purpose of their existence right now, because without bringing back the owl, they are going to be hunted as well by vampires. When I was setting myself up for this game, I thought to myself, I am thinking that Mary and Gretchen are too tired. I think they're asleep. I don't think they're awake. So the owl, as if you don't know, when an owl flies, you can't hear it at all. It's amazing. You can't hear the owl fly. So when the owl flew in here, it didn't startle anybody. Diggory and Elros are awake. I have to, what is it called? An advanced tiny dungeon, setting a camp. So we're gonna go through setting a camp. I'll show you some of the. So we're gonna go through setting a camp. Now I remembered also that Elros is an advanced, but he's an advanced hireling. I might make him just a PC because I wrote a whole huge character sheet for him, and it was not easy. But setting a camp, so there's a lot of cool rules of setting camp that we're going to go through right now. So that is the scene set up. The owl came in. I think they're asleep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on the fate chart or the oracle for Ironsworn, and I'm going to give it a 50-50. Let me look one moment. Yes, a 50-50. So a 51 or greater is a yes. So if I roll a 51 or greater, Mary and Gretchen are awake. So let's re-roll the D100 and let's find out. 26, they're asleep. Good. They're asleep. Now with Ironsworn, I'm still going to do the critical extremes in a way. 1 or 100 are going to be like a extreme answer. Extreme no or extreme yes. So they are asleep. That's good because this will get kind of weird right now. Let's get the dice tray out of here. Okay, so now we're going to go to setting a camp. I'm really liking these rules. It's nice and simple. That's why I like Tiny D6 systems, especially the advanced version of Tiny Dungeon. So let me show you something interesting. Let me highlight it. After the party decides whether or not they are using camp tasks to set guards or scouts, the GM rolls a number of D6s equal to the number of adventurers in the camp. If the GM rolls a result of 10 or higher, I'm assuming that means adding those dice numbers up, the camp faces a problem. With this, I wonder if Gretchen and Mary are adventurers with us. And I don't think so. I don't have a character sheet for them. They're not hirelings. They're just some NPCs that came over to us just to eat, drink, and sleep. And as a side note, Elros is still cooking a huge stew. In the Halfling Heritage and Advanced Tiny Dungeon, they're known to heal their party members by cooking for them. So there is still a stew being cooked to feed everybody, probably, let's say, in the morning. Get everybody nice and warm in the morning, happy and eating. And there's all types of benefits with the cooking traits for halflings in the system. So that's still happening. There's stew cooking outside the tent. So there's all type of tasks you could do in a camp. And one of them is a guard. If you choose one of the adventurers to be a guard, it increases the target GM roll by 5. So instead of a 10, every guard that you have increases by 5. So you have to roll a 15 now for something bad to happen. Then if you have someone scouting, it reduces the dice pool by 1. So right now I'm not going to include Gretchen or Mary. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to include a companion. So I have to roll 4d6. And hopefully it doesn't add up to 10. If I have a scout, it reduces it by 1, so it'll be a 3d6. Then I have a guard, it increases it to 15. So I think that's the best thing right now. So everybody's asleep, the Heim is still out there, Diggory and Elros are not injured. By the way, it's optional to have a guard and a scout in your camp, but I'm going to do that anyways. So I'm going to have Elros scouting and Diggory guarding. So Diggory is just, let's just say, is just sitting in the tent right now awake. That's a guard. You know, you're awake. That's the most important thing about guarding, is being awake and not asleep. Elros, on the other hand, is going to be walking around. So let's put Elros out here, shrink him down, make it look like he's in a distance. And Diggory's going to stay awake to keep an eye out on things close by. That is a 3d6. And I have to get a 15 or more for something bad to happen. So we're going to re-roll these dice right here. So we have to roll a 3d6 and we have to roll a 15 or more for something bad to happen. So here we go. That one was confused. So luckily it's just a 9. So nothing bad happens. So we're going to assume that right now the Heim is in the Dark Forest hiding. I believe Heim's in the Witcher RPG system. When I read it, the Heim can regenerate and heal itself. I believe so. So right now it's just in the woods, healing itself, staying low because almost half its life went out in that last attack by Diggory and Elros. Now, just because something bad doesn't happen doesn't mean nothing happens. So while Elros is walking around, does he find anything? So I'm going to ask the Oracle on Ironsworn that it's likely that Elros found something, maybe something interesting, or finds evidence of something. We'll find out. If I roll a yes, then I'll use random tables in Ironsworn to figure out what's going on. So let's roll on the fate chart with likely as the odd, which means I have to roll a 26 or greater, and Elros has found something interesting. Let's find out. Wow, that 100 would have been incredible if that was my reroll, but it's not. So let's reroll and let's find out if he found anything. 62. So Elros did find something. Now let me go through a table and figure out what he found. Let me use action and theme right now first, and let me see if I can interpret maybe something that he found. So we're going to reroll for the action a D100, which is a 1. A scheme. Okay, that's odd. We'll figure it out when we roll on the theme. 29. Trade. Scheme trade. Oh my word. I think I know what he found. I think I know what Elros found. So I got a lot of responses from the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay How to Play Solo episode I created, which I'll create more in the future. But one of the biggest comments, or the most comments, and not just on YouTube, but on other platforms, Discord and Facebook etc., even on Instagram, direct messages, was that they loved when I showed my thought process. Okay, so scheme trade. So many might think that scheme and trade doesn't mean much right now, or you may. Let me know in the comments what you think it could mean. What I think it means is that Elros, our little halfling here, found evidence from Mary or Gretchen. They dropped, let's say like a note, or let's say like maybe a rolled up scroll, let's say, and he is a spell reader. That's a trait in Advanced Tiny Dungeon, or even a regular Tiny Dungeon 2e. And he, in his head, he can't speak it out loud, and he read a scroll that states whoever casts this scroll can be teleported or open a portal back to the higher vampire's castle. And there's instructions there to get Mina, the owl, back to them. It's a scheme that Mary and Gretchen are here. They're lying who they are, and they're lying why they're here. And they're trading their freedom or their lives for an owl and information on where Hannah and Merrick are. Elros just found evidence of who Gretchen and Mary are, just by a simple action and theme roll with Ironsworn. And I think that's where we're going to leave the episode. So if you enjoy this episode, let me know, and let me know in the comments on ideas you may have. Did you like it? I'm trying to do this more live, just like I did with Warhammer, so it's not going to be as edited as my other episodes. So let me know if you like that style. It looks like everybody does, because the Warhammer episode was the highest, the fastest viewed, or most view count in the amount of time, and the most likes I've ever received, especially in a short amount of time. I think within 3 days it gained 100 likes, or less than 3 days, 2.5 days. So it shows that everybody does like this type of gameplay instead of everything heavily edited. So Elros knows who Gretchen and Mary are. Diggory's staying up, and Mary and Gretchen are asleep, and Hannah and Merrick are asleep, still healing. And they get a roll on a 1d6 to heal because they're resting. Part of the rules of Advanced Tiny Dungeon. Our NPC list is still the same, but our threads have changed. Elros knows who Mary and Gretchen are, and that takes out one of the threads I had written down of who is Mary and Gretchen. Now, I know who they are, but our group doesn't. But Elros does now. So that's going to be checked off right now. Now, there's no chaos factor, not in Ironsworn, so I'll just keep track if I go back to Mythic while playing the system, or if people say, you know what, I like Mythic more, can you go back to that instead of Ironsworn? And that'll be fine with me. I'll just keep track of the chaos factor. So right now, I think the chaos went up. So currently the chaos factor in Mythic, which I'm not using right now, is 6. So the chaos factor went to 7. So I'll still write 7 in Mythic in case in the next episode or afterwards you guys say, you know what, we like Mythic better. It's up to you guys. I'm doing it all for you guys, and I'm having fun playing as well. So the community seems like they really like voting on what the scene setup should be. So I'll put it up in a little bit. I'm not going to put it up right away because I don't want to give anything away. So in a couple days, I'll put up in the YouTube community page on my channel 5 different type of scenarios or scenes, and just vote on which one you like. So this one was Mina came back to the campsite, and we're gonna find out what's gonna happen right now. I think Elros is out there just like pacing back and forth or shaking his head going, I can't believe this, what did I get myself into, I should just leave. Who knows, maybe that's what he's gonna do. I don't think so, but you never know. You have to ask the fate chart. Is Elros just gonna leave? Elros knows what's happening. He doesn't want any trouble. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he's amazing. By the way, if you're still here, Elros does have a backstory. I'll link it up if I remember, but it is in the playlist of Witcher. Or at least I'll add it in the playlist if it's not there, of who Elros is. And I use Call to Adventure card game to find out what his backstory was. So his backstory was completely random. Okay, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thank you again for watching another episode from Wilona's Cave. Happy gaming, everybody. Bye.